Make sure that you are on your best behavior for your sister and Mr. Bingley.
I understand, Mother. I am sure that we will all do our best.
Good. Soon I will have 2 married daughters.
It is Lady Catherine.
I hope you are well, Miss Bennet. That lady, I suppose, is your mother?
Yes, madam, she is.
You have a very small park here, Mrs. Bennet.
It is nothing in comparison to Rosings, my lady, I dare say. But, I assure you it is much larger than Sir William Lucas's.
This must be a most inconvenient sitting room for the evening in the summer. All the windows are full west.
I assure you, my lady, that we do not sit in this room after dinner. May I take the liberty in asking your ladyship whether you left Mr. and Mrs. Collins well?
Yes, very well. I saw them the night before last. Mrs. Bennet, if I dare say, I would like to speak with Miss Bennet alone.
Yes. Yes, of course, my lady. I will just be down the hall.
You can be at no loss, Miss Bennet, to understand the reason for my journey hither. Your own heart, your own conscience, must tell you why I come.
Indeed, you are mistaken, madam. I have not been able to account for the honor of seeing you here.
Miss Bennet, you ought to know I am not to be trifled with. But, however insincere you may choose to be, you shall not find me so. My character has been celebrated for its sincerity and frankness, and in a cause of such moment as this, I shall certainly not depart from it. A report of a most alarming nature reached me 2 days ago. I was told that not only your sister was on the point of being most advantageously married, but that Miss Elizabeth Bennet, would, in all likelihood, be soon afterwards united to my nephew, my own nephew, Mr. Darcy. Though I know it must be a scandalous falsehood, though I would not injure him so much as to suppose the truth of it possible, I instantly resolved on setting off for this place, that I might make my sentiments known to you.
If you believed it possible to be true, I wonder you took the trouble of coming so far. What could your ladyship propose by it?
At once to insist upon having such a report universally contradicted.
Your coming to Longbourn to see me and my family will be rather a confirmation of it, if, indeed, such a report is in existence.
If. Do you then pretend to be ignorant of it? Has it not been industriously circulated by yourselves? Do you not know that such a report is spread abroad?
I never heard that it was.
And can you likewise declare that there is no foundation for it?
I do not pretend to possess equal frankness with your ladyship. You may ask questions which I shall not choose to answer.
This is not to be borne. Miss Bennet, I insist on being satisfied. Has my nephew made you an offer of marriage?
Your ladyship has declared it impossible.
It ought to be so, while he retains the use of his reason. But your arts and allurements may in a moment of infatuation, have made him forget what he owes to himself and to all his family. You may have drawn him in.
If I have, I shall be the last person to confess it.
Miss Bennet, do you know who I am? I have not been accustomed to such language as this. I am almost the nearest relation he has in the world, and am entitled to know all his dearest concerns.
But you are not entitled to know mine, nor will such behavior as this ever induce me to be explicit.
Let me be rightly understood. This match, to which you have the presumption to aspire, can never take place. No, never. Mr. Darcy is engaged to my daughter. Now what have you to say?
Only this, that if he is so, you can have no reason to suppose that he will make no offer to me.
The engagement between them is of a peculiar kind. From their infancy, they have been intended for each other. It was the favorite wish of his mother, as well as hers, while in their cradles, we planned the union, and now, at the moment when the wishes of both sisters would be accomplished, in their marriage, to be prevented by a young woman of inferior birth, of no importance in the world, and wholly unallied to the family. Do you pay no regard to the wishes of his friends? To his tacit engagement with Miss de Bourgh? Are you lost to every feeling of propriety and delicacy? Have you not heard me say, that from his earliest hours he was destined for his cousin?
Yes, and I had heard it before. But what is that to me? If there is no other objection to my marrying your nephew, I shall certainly not be kept from it, knowing that his mother and his aunt wished him to marry Miss de Bourgh. You both did as much as you could in planning the marriage. Its completion depended on others. If Mr. Darcy is neither by honor nor inclination confined to his cousin, why is not he to make another choice? And if I am that choice, why may I not accept him?
Because honor, decorum, prudence, nay, interest, forbid it. Yes, Miss Bennet, interest, for do not expect to be noticed by his family or friends. If you willfully act against the inclinations of all, you'll be censured, slighted and despised by everyone connected with him. Your alliance will be a disgrace, your name will never even be mentioned by any of us.
These are heavy misfortunes, but the wife of Mr. Darcy must have extraordinary sources of happiness necessarily attached to her situation, that she could, upon the whole, have no cause to repine.
Obstinate, headstrong girl. I am ashamed of you. Is this your gratitude for my attentions to you last spring? Is nothing due to me on that score? You are to understand, Miss Bennet, that I came here with the determined resolution of carrying my purpose, nor will I be dissuaded from it. I have not been used to submit to any person's whims. I have not been in the habit of brooking disappointment.
That will make your ladyship's situation at present more pitiable, but it will have no effect on me.
I will not be interrupted. Hear me in silence. My daughter and my nephew are formed for each other. They are descended, on the maternal side, from the same noble line, and, on the father's, from respectable, honorable, and ancient, though untitled, families. Their fortune on both sides is splendid. They are destined for each other by the voice of every member of their respective houses, and what is to divide them? The upstart pretensions of a young woman without family, connections, or fortune. Is this to be endured? But it must not. Shall not be. If you were sensible of your own good, you would not wish to quit the sphere in which you have been brought up.
In marrying your nephew, I should not consider myself as quitting that sphere. He is a gentleman, I am a gentleman's daughter, so far we are equal.
True. You are a gentleman's daughter. But who is your mother? Who are your aunts and uncles? Do not imagine me ignorant of their condition.
Whatever my connections may be, if your nephew does not object to them, they can be nothing to you.
Tell me, once for all, are you engaged to him?
I am not.
And will you promise me to never enter into such an engagement?
I will make no promise of that kind.
Miss Bennet, I am shocked and astonished. I expected to find a more reasonable young woman. But do not deceive yourself into a belief that I will ever recede. I shall not go away till you have given me the assurance I require.
And I certainly never shall give it. I am not to be intimidated into anything so wholly unreasonable. Your ladyship wants Mr. Darcy to marry your daughter, but would my giving you the wished-for promise make their marriage at all more probable? Supposing him to be attached to me, would my refusing to accept his hand make him wish to bestow it on his cousin? Allow me to say, Lady Catherine, that the arguments with which you have supported this extraordinary application have been as frivolous as the application was ill-judged. You have mistaken my character, if you think I can be worked on by such persuasions as these. How far your nephew might approve of your interference in his affairs, I cannot tell, but you have certainly no right to concern yourself in mine. I must beg, therefore, to be importune no farther on the subject.
Not so hasty, if you please. I have no means done. To all the objections I have already urged I have still another to add. I am no stranger to the particulars of your sister's infamous elopement. I know it all, that the young man's marrying her was a patched-up business, at the expense of your father and uncle. And is such a girl to be my nephew's sister, is her husband, who is the son of his late father's steward, to be his brother? Heaven and earth! Of what are you thinking? Are the shades of Pemberley to be thus polluted?
You can now have nothing further to say. You have insulted me, in every possible method.
You have no regard then for honor and credit of my nephew. Do you not consider that a connection with you must disgrace him in the eyes of everybody?
Lady Catherine, I have nothing further to say. You know my sentiments.
You are then resolved to have him?
I have said no such thing. I am only resolved to act in that manner, which will, in my own opinion, constitute my happiness, without reference to you, ought to any person so wholly
unconnected with me. It is well. You refuse to oblige me. You refuse to obey claims of duty, honor, and gratitude. You are determined to ruin him in the opinion of all his friends, and make him the contempt of the world.
Neither duty, nor honor, nor gratitude, had any possible claim on me, at the present instance. No principle of either would be violated by my marriage with Mr. Darcy. And with regard to the resentment of his family, of the indignation of the world, if the former were excited by his marrying me, it would not give me one moment's concern, and the world in general would have too much sense to join in the scorn.
And this is your real opinion? This is your final resolve? Very well. I shall now know how to act. Do not imagine, Miss Bennet, that your ambition will ever be gratified. I came to try you. I hope to find you reasonable, but depend upon it I will carry my point. I take no leave of you, Miss Bennet. I send no compliments to your mother. You deserve no such attention. I am most seriously displeased.